Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Suramar. The archways were built to tap into the magical ley lines beneath Suramar, as we learned to subsist in the night while the old facilities fell out of use. This chamber is clearly receiving power from somewhere. It's only a trick right now, but if you help direct the ley line, it'll help to sustain us. The closest source is north of here, near Anora Hollow. I mean, the list is pretty big off the deeper end, so you've got some options there. So let's go meet our next supporting cast member.
You there, Outlander. Be a dear and step on that other switch, will you? There we are, open at last. Well, I will be killing you now. Any last words?
I mean, you are welcome to try.
Power is out there. We need only reach for it. Ah, I recognize that symbol. So Thalyssera has recruited an Outlander to our cause. Are we truly so desperate?
Yes.
Very well. I am Valtois. Out here so far from the Nightwell, we must settle for any source of magic we can find. It seems Thalyssera and I have the same idea. The old ley line feeds might keep us alive, if barely. We just have to wake them up.
Age of Empires 1, Age of Empires 2, and the 2D platformers. You got it. Thank you, off the deeper end. My GPU is dying, first of all. Now, that doesn't mean it's dead. GPUs take a while to wind down, but that does mean we're in threat of crashes and having issues pretty much going forward. I actually have already had 2 issues today. Now, you want to hear something really awful? This is partially my fault, and it is, and I acknowledge that. At the moment, I'm not getting anything out. But do you know why my GPU is starting to die now? Because I can trace the issues I've been having with it to a specific incident. Starfield. Yeah. I'm not even joking. It's not a meme, and it's not funny. So, yeah, it's Starfield. I've really been thinking maybe we should just straight up veto Elder Scrolls 6. Just veto it now and get it over with, because I'm not joking when I say that this has stopped being funny. I already had to replace my hard drive because of Starfield. I just... Anyways.
You may speak. Farewell.
This station has fallen into disrepair. The circuit is broken, and to mend it we must recharge the seals in the central chamber. Both a high-potency current and low-potency current are needed for each seal. Direct the currents to the same point and engage the seal. Me? I will supervise. You're the help, after all.
Oh, good. This coil projects a high-potency current. You will find a low-potency coil at the far end of the facility. Both currents feed into the central chamber. Use the coils and switches to direct the currents and power all 4 seals in the central chamber.
So, how many of you are familiar with the concept of poor tax? It is a concept. It's not. It's also a deliberate thing, but it is a concept. Concept. It's something that exists, regardless of things. A poor tax. I'll just explain it. A poor tax is not something. Okay, hang on. Let me walk this sentence back a little bit. There's two categories of things that qualify as poor tax. But what people mean when they say that is, yeah, it's stuff that poorer people have to deal with that wealthy people don't. It is literally more expensive to be poor than to be well off, because you have to pay additional fees, you have to pay for things in part, you have to accrue additional debt, etc. There's actually quite a few examples of this. They're all insidious and they're all awful. I don't even know what that is, little Billy. I'm sorry. It's not. Again, I want to stress this for a moment because sometimes certain things in economics are theory, like the nature of how money flows or how debt collection works or cycles or invented wealth, all kinds of. No, this is not theory. It is more expensive to be poor because the worse off you are, the harder it is to obtain the money that you yourself earn. The most basic example I can give of this is if you don't have a bank account, then you actually have to go and essentially pay someone to cash your check for you. So you literally get a chunk of your paycheck taken out of it simply by virtue of the fact that you don't have a bank account. Stuff like that, right? You don't have the ability to pay off a car, but you need a car to get a job. So you get a loan. That loan is going to be not a particularly good loan because you don't have good financials, so you get a bad percentage on that loan. And then you don't make enough money to really pay off the loan, so all you do is pay off the interest, and so forth and so on. There's all kinds of things like that. There's a lot. There's hundreds and hundreds of things like that. Anyways, the reason I was bringing all this up is I'm sort of in that place right now. Don't mistake me. I'm not poor. I haven't been poor in a few years. But that is sort of the direction because I have the option of
The currents are aligned. Now engage the seal.
of gambling and going ahead and spending more money on just, what I already have in the hopes that it'll be better. Or I could spend a lot more money and pretty much ensure that I'm going to be fine. And you see the problem, right? Like the correct call here, the correct decision is to spend the more money, but I may not have that money to burn. And also, since there's a high probability I'm going to move this year, let me tell you a little bit of a pro tip. Replacing hardware right before a large-scale move, especially cross-country, is not a smart option.
Fine work. 3 more to go.
And yeah, anybody who's ever had a car knows exactly what this kind of thing is like, too. Most of you have probably not been around long enough to remember this, but actually when I moved to Georgia 8 years ago now, I don't remember how long it's been, I actually did have a hardware failure from that move. And so that was something that I had to replace when that happened. It's like, well, okay. That's my lot. Because, even if you pack everything appropriately, think about how much a vehicle, especially a truck, vibrates as it's traveling. Really easy for stuff to get damaged in that kind of a transition. That's true with a lot of types of hardware hazardous. And so, a man who could afford $50 had a pair of boots that he that still keep his feet dry in 10 years' time, while the poor man who can only afford cheap boots would spend $100 on boots at the same time. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what poor tax means. I should mention that, like I said earlier, like I alluded to earlier, there's people mean two things when they mean poor tax. And what it boils down to is some poor taxes are deliberate. That varies from country to country, time to time, place to place. You know, in some cases, they want you to stay poor. What do you mean, Act? Actually, yeah, play it all. Oh, Jesus, Uthor. I mean, education is one of those things that you probably don't want to get me started on.
It is done. The station is back online.
I gotcha.
Refined ley line energy will flow from here to Shalaran.
So, let me give you a little bit, because I know you don't live in the United States, Lord Harriman. Let me share a little factoid for you. The Democratic Party here in the United States likes to brand themselves as left, and the Republican Party likes to brand themselves as right. That's actually a lie, or perhaps just misinformation. The Democratic Party is more for stagnation, which is very centrist, and the Republican Party is very, very much in favor of regression, which is very right-leaning. And plenty of individuals on the Democratic Party are just straight up right. That's why. That is why you don't hear about this kind of stuff here in the United States. We don't actually have left representation. Oh, and both are very firmly in the pockets of the large and the expensive corporations and rich people. Acceleration is different. I don't want to get too much down that rabbit hole. But acceleration is different. We do absolutely have accelerationists in the United States. In politics, I mean, obviously. I don't know about individual people.
Shalasan Torah. The arcane is infinite. You are dismissed. I will make my own way to Shalaran.
Thanks. Yeah, Bernie is very, very much not part of the Democratic Party. He tends to adhere to the Democratic Party because what else is he going to do? But he is absolutely not what you would call a representative of the Democratic Party. And to be clear, that's a good thing. Bernie is kind of the exception that proves the rule here in the States. What's really sad, no, I don't want to get into specifics, but my respect for Bernie has only ever gone up the more I study politics in general. That's it. I just wanted to say that really quick.
And bring the Outlander with you.
Does she have to?
If you insist.
With leyline energy feeding in from Enora, this chamber can begin to awaken. It'll be a slow process. We must take care to mask this activity from our enemies, a process which itself requires enormous effort and focus. Furthermore, there's the conundrum of actually consuming the mana in this form. A stream too weak is not powerful enough to provide sustenance, and too powerful it'll vaporize us. There's much work to be done. Let's examine the feed.
Aran Arcana.
And Valtois. You would be wise not to turn your nose up at the outsiders. None of us would be here without their help.
Of course, First Arcanist.
Frankly, yeah, Spartan.
Come, we can examine the feed from down here.
That's what happens every time, Huthor. The only hope... I don't want to get...
You have much experience with ley line
I
energy.
don't want to get it.
I
Sorry.
should think not. Allow me to educate you on the fundamentals. Far below us, rivers of raw arcane power course throughout the land. The ley lines are eternal, primal, and impossible to control. Ellis, however, just as one pulls thread from cotton, so too can we draw power from the ley lines. See here. This is the feed from an aura, and there are many others still lying dormant.
There's a lot of Suramar politics to talk about.
And help us create a new locus of power here in Shalaran.
So, the actual reason I didn't want to get into it is because Valtois was in the middle of talking. Sorry, Valtois. Didn't mean to talk over you.
Yes.
She raises an eyebrow at your greeting. Listen closely. Valtois. The S is silent.
Run along. Aran Arcana. Power is out there. We need only reach for it.
All I was going to say is that we actually have a fairly repeated pattern here in the States. I have theories on the matter, but let's ignore that. Let's ignore perspective. Let's ignore opinion for just a second. Let's throw that out the window. What tends to happen is life sucks. People get upset about the fact that life sucks. And remember, the Democratic Party is not left. They're centrist, which means their biggest thing is stagnation. So they're just, stay the course. And as a result, large-scale corporations and exceptionally rich people make life worse for everybody. That sucks, so people get angry. So they listen to a big, charismatic, right-leaning person on the Republican Party, get those kind of people in power, and then those people make things much worse. Those people then get kicked right back out of power, and we spend several years recovering from it. Then we go back to status quo. This loop has happened more than once just in my lifetime. Guess where we're at right now. Actually, yes, I do, Hazardous. Oh my god. There's, I agree with that off the deeper end, but you get my overall point. We were speaking in generalizations here. It doesn't help that most of the parties themselves, not just in this country, adhere to the idea of being left or right. Whether it's true or not. But yeah, so... I have to point this out. I have to. Yeah, no, it's the first past the post is such a terrible system that just needs to be thrown in the trash. I know most of you probably don't consume news media, and frankly, good on you for doing that. But if you ever actually decide to look into what large-scale media, like the bigger ones, CNN or at Fox or whatever, the overwhelming message all of them have been pushing is what I can only refer to as a blatant goddamned lie. Anybody with a functioning brain can tell you why the recent election here in the States went the way it did. It's a fairly simple and obvious pattern, and I even just mentioned it briefly. And they're all screaming about X, Y, or Z being the specific reason for it, because they're trying to stir up crap, and they're trying to distract from real issues. Because who do you think actually runs those companies, those news media outlets? This isn't... We're no longer within the realm of speculation. We actually have interviews and have receipts and have information that proves that large-scale news media outlets are flat out ordered to talk about X type of topics, don't talk about Y type of topics, and if you have to talk about such and such, slant it a certain way. Like this, we're past the point of speculation. I know what you're thinking. Where else do you get news from? That's the problem, isn't it? Yeah, Jeff Bezos owns the New York Times, and we've seen that become an issue several times just within the last few months. So... moving on.
Aran Arcana.
Hello, Sildren. Either my legend has spread beyond the city, or we have a mutual acquaintance. Yeah, Thalysra sent me.
Thalysra lives? Come, let us talk in private. The Shaldarai are suffering.
We should be safe to speak here, for the moment.
Be kind, or be strong.
Many Nightborn have pinned their hopes on Thalysra deposing the Grand Magistrix. Since she disappeared, dissenting voices have grown silent. We must spread the word, discreetly, among the populace. Lilith Lunastray will be a perfect ally in this. She's a socialite with many connections, no friend of the Legion. Lilith hosts a masquerade party at her estate where rumors are traded like coin and brandished like daggers. Let's invite ourselves in.
On Ratha Ador, we shall use the garden entrance. Enchanted masks. Simply don the mask, and a magical costume will envelop your body. It should be enough to fool the other guests, but stay clear of the guards.
And this is the beginning of the gimmick,
Find Lilith. You stay out of trouble.
which people have memed on and made fun of
Enjoy the party for a bit. You know, mingle.
for years, ever since this came out. Regressive, I mean exactly what I meant, Czar. They want things to revert to a previous state of things. They're regressive. I don't know what other word to use there. Progressive, regressive. Yes, I had that earlier today. Right. Hi, Evo. This is me now. This is what I really look like. I wish. Also, God, my warglaives. Look at my warglaives on this thing.
Who goes there?
Oh, hang on. He didn't say the right thing. Let's try that again.
Who goes there?
Come on, come on, come on. Say the thing.
Who goes there?
Come on, say the thing.
Something's not quite right.
Please. Just once.
Who goes there?
Oh my God.
Something's not quite right.
Oh, whatever. Maybe they don't say it during the party.
Ishnal Toreth,
How do you do, fellow Nightborn?
we shall endure.
You know, the Magistrix has spies everywhere. Yeah.
Greetings.
Well, I heard someone else came as an owl. Well, one of us has to change. What if we tried not watching the world burn, just for once, to see if we like it?
Norbathos Suramar.
I like that option. Just wink a lot. I thought for once I'd have the most exotic costume, but it seems I've been outdone again. Demons, am I right? Excuse me while I pretend we never met. Warlocks are not known to be trustworthy. What if Gul'dan betrays us?
Something's not quite right.
By the way, one of them also said, "Is that an Outlander costume underneath your regular costume? That's genius!" Oh, thank goodness, Dakota. I hope the procedure was smooth and otherwise uneventful.
You wish to speak?
Yes, my costume is the most fabulous. Thank you for moving. It hardly matters that I can't move. How can we be free in the Legion's shadow?
Kaltharos Maldin.
I'm apparently committing a lot of social faux pas here. Oh, god damn it, Dakota. Who let you in here?
Ashtaras Denil.
Oh, apparently Lady Lilith is waiting for me.
This is not up for debate, Anaris. You are either with us or against us. Choose wisely.
I will hear no more of your scheming. You endanger everything our father worked for.
Oh, dear child. Do you not realize what he died for?
So this is Lilith and Lunastray. She's one of the good ones. And for once, I don't mean that with the irony that phrase is usually stated. She is a well-positioned, high-functioning politician/socialite who actually is part of the solution. She is doing everything in her power in her position to try and make things work. For those of you who have ever seen Andor, she's Mon Mothma.
Yes?
Pleased to meet you.
Glory to the Shal'Darai. The people will rise.
The mask suits you, and Suramar can be quite advantageous to be someone else for a time.
I will honor my father's name.
As my darling sister has demonstrated, Elisand's decision to bring down the shield has sown unrest amongst the Nightborn. Loyalists and demons march together in the streets. Fear and distrust grip our hearts. Family turns against family. I will help Thalyssra stir a new rebellion, but first we must deal with Anaris. I do not wish to spill the blood of my blood, only to help her see reason. Anaris is likely brooding over our father's memorial. Bring her to me, alive.
Our father's memorial is just around the corner. I'm sure you will find Anaris nearby.
Yeah, one of my biggest regrets, spoilers, is that Lunastray here was kind of shoved out of the narrative during the story arc, which makes sense, but then they didn't do anything with her again. And I know a lot of people who missed the fact that she's actually in the raid. Well, her name is Lilith Lunastray, so what do you want from me, Luneru?
Get away from there! You have come to help Lilith destroy our family! Begone!
Died in honorable service to Grand Magistrix Elisand. Lady, I am substantially stronger than you. I strongly recommend you just stop.
Ugh, who are you?
Death.
She wants to preach her traitorous ideals to me further? Fine, let us go.
Come on.
Ananora!
Someone will notice I am missing. They will come looking for me.
True. You will have to make an appearance. Good day.
So,
The people will rise.
our family commands great respect in the city thanks to my father. Through my network of contacts, we can organize the citizens to prepare Suramar for Thalyssra's return. You must walk amongst the Nightborn. You must earn the trust of friends and foes alike. You must be someone else. Put this on Anaris.
Glory to the Shal'Darai.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry about this.
Greetings.
My little sister is about to turn over a new leaf, whether she likes it or not.
I will honor my father's name.
Time to put this to the test. Your first contact is Vanthier, a merchant from the Common District. He's in the Grand Promenade today, visiting one of his suppliers. Tell Vanthier to pay me a visit regarding a shipment of dusk lily bulbs. He'll understand. Beyond that, you should return to Thylisra. She hands you a corked bottle of faintly glowing liquid. Give her this, with my regards.
Farewell.
I made a comment on Discord last night I'd like to share on camera. I try, Lineruth. I take people's names pretty seriously. I think you've probably noticed that. So I really don't like it when I mispronounce someone's name or screw it up. So, how many of you have played FF14? I imagine it's a non-insubstantial number of you. Am I time walking?
An illusion? What are you hiding?
There it is. There's the quote.
Something's not quite...
Whoop. And it... Okay. You're both dead, then. Come here. Die. What's an FF? Well... There's this number called 255. Now, in FF14, there's a point in ARR. Most of you probably actually recognize what I'm talking about. When the writing just sort of suddenly and out of nowhere gets a lot better. It's when you go to the Ishgard section. It was actually written by a completely different writer, and it shows. And so, like, it's not. I'm not using this as an excuse to bash ARR. It's just ARR is like okay, and then all of a sudden, just in terms of just overall quality, sentence construction, complexity of characterization, casual world building, proper exposition without expo dumping. Like just if you were to imagine all of the sudden ways in which writing is categorized and quantified, the overall quality just went up a notch, a noticeable notch. I have seen lots of people, especially regardless of myself, you know, I analyze fiction for a living, but even if you don't, I have seen people who immediately are like, whoa. And yeah, it's when you go to Kurthus. Yeah, that's true, little Billy. That is true. And yeah, obviously the second half of ARR actually has a similar thing, but you get the point. That's Suramar. Suramar is just better written than a huge quantity of WoW. It's weird how they just sort of suddenly kind of are firing on all pistons. For years, I have wondered why. What changed? Who was writing this? How did they sit down and just suddenly make a story that just in all of the different aspects of writing was just a little bit better? It's very confusing, and to this day I don't actually have an answer for it. Now, it's not the only time WoW has suddenly just randomly become better written, because War Within exists, which I don't want to bear the lead on that, because Lord knows I've been wrong about everything this entire run. But, frankly, War Within is another example of that, just of the writing quality just suddenly being better. Although in that case, at least we have a pretty good idea why. Guild Wars 2, Vermintide 2, and Rogue Trader. Thank you, as always, Oculus. Much appreciate. Yeah, War Within. I'll explain it really quick. So Dragonflight had the new writing team and had cut off most of the baggage. No, I'm saying that wrong. Was dealing with most of the baggage from Titan and Shadowlands and BFA and Legion. They're just this problematic era of WoW, which we're still in right now. So Dragonflight still had a lot of baggage dragging it down, and they hadn't quite codified the new format of how they were structured internally, how they were managing the writing team. War Within has none of that baggage, all of the same writing team, and now they're all firing on all pistons. So War Within, it makes perfect sense that it is so much better writing, because everything was going for them, right? Anyway, sorry. Moving on.
You need only ask.
He halts his conversation abruptly as you approach and eyes you suspiciously. Anaris, what do you want? Are there no more demon boots left for you to lick? Yeah, Lilith would like you to visit her regarding a shipment of dusk lily pods.
How can I help? Dusk lily pods. I see. Please excuse me. I must address this immediately.
I mean, they've had plans ahead before, too, though, as Mirstar. But you're right, that is probably an additional multiplier on top of everything. That is possible, Mr. Floyd. Metzen is a good writer when he zooms the camera in. We've said this for years. He's good at two things. He's good at low-tier stuff, personal stuff, and he's good at moments. Suramar is filled with both. So, quite possible. Do I like the After Years? So let me give the correct response first. I've only played After Years once, and I've never reviewed it. However, the one time I played through it, I hated it. Anyways, alright, so, moving on. Now, that is a good question, Blade Jabal. That's actually an interesting point. Someone in my Discord recently was disparaging Blizzard by saying that they haven't made a good game in years. I actually agreed with them, but for kind of a different reason than they probably intended. Because, well, flowers blooming, right? A little bit, it's the symbolism. But I think there is a real-life history about that. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. Because WoW obviously is still out and frankly is getting better. But they made Diablo 4 recently, which I have been very vocally against. And before that was Overwatch 2, which is a dumpster fire. Before that was Overwatch, which was a tech demo. And before that was StarCraft 2? Like, they haven't actually been producing a lot of new games lately. Now, that's fine. But you see the overall idea, right? Yeah, WoW has very much been zooming in... Sorry, WoW. Blizzard has very much been zooming in on WoW over the last several years. For good or for ill. Warcraft 3 Reforged. I can tell you some stories about that. I have not reviewed Diablo 4, and I never will. It is actually on the veto list for a good reason. The Diablo 2 remaster was actually quite good, yes. Frankly, so was the StarCraft 1 remaster. No, Huthor is correct. With the industry being where it is, frankly, we're probably lucky that WoW is still going at all. But first, I have to say thank you, Lucas Slaughter, very, very much. Always appreciate. Thank you. And I will put that towards the Trails of games. As usual, I suppose. Yeah, no, Microsoft is definitely... Microsoft Gaming's division is still fighting the rest of the divisions, and they're still having... Sorry, I just realized something. So my GPU is dying, right? And a couple of you actually know this. My glasses are broken. Now, they're not super broken. It's driving me crazy. You probably can't even tell. Here, let's see if I can get it on camera. I don't know if you can be able to see it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It's on this one right here. There's a large chip there. I don't know if that's visible. I can't see my screen. Just a big old chip smashed right out of it. And you're probably thinking, oh, well, so what, right? It is amazingly distracting because it's at a curve, and so it's reflecting everything. So even as I just move around, there's this going on in my vision constantly, right? Like this is just my life right now. And that's just this week, isn't it? That's just the kind of week it's been. Let me do these quests, and I'll answer people's questions. Hang on. 'Cause we got some other stuff we can do in a minute.
One day at a time.
The Lunastray family is well connected. They'll be of great help when the time comes.
Anratha Adore.
All of Caldanus' experiments led to with the weather had failed, and some of them made him more dangerous until they found Theron. His arcane essence, the very soul of the Shaldor, has been touched by something special, but why? So now we need 300 ancient mana.
Thalyssera, you cannot be serious. Wasting your time on this creature? We should be planning our attack on Suramar.
That is precisely what I am doing.
So, ladies and gentlemen, take this for what it's worth, and enjoy some of the only negatives we're going to give to Suramar. So remember how we mentioned that this was time-gated and rep-gated? Well, it's also mana-gated. That's these little blue things you've been seeing on the minimap. Now, there's a couple of large chunks of mana that you can get. And I apparently don't have the add-on on to help me with that. So yeah, let's fix that really quick. We're going to need... No, there's going to be worse mana gates later, so we're going to kind of get ready for this. We also have that right there, that 100 mana gem. I'm going to put that over there to make sure I don't forget it. And that one there. Half full bottle of arc wine. Thalyssera drank the other half. Thanks, Thalyssera. That would be hilarious. Play Trifle. Go do this quest. No! Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Do I not have handy notes for Suramar? Hello? Do I seriously not have it? Yeah, it sounds about right, Huthor. The worst part is, if you notice, we have 500 max Arc Ancient Mana right now. As we do quests, that number goes up, but it means we can't pre-grind, which is why I haven't, if you're wondering. Oh no, she is definitely, like, tightening the belt there. I have always wondered what arc wine tastes like. Okay, so someone asked why Diablo 4 is vetoed. Because I can't stand the story, and because I don't like the gameplay. I don't think anybody wants to watch me just be absolutely abstractly miserable for about a week and a half, playing a game I despise. Oh. There it is, Legion. How do I not have Legion? The Diablo 2 remaster, isn't that... Yeah, it won't be bad enough to be fun, that's the thing. Bloodborne. At least Bloodborne has good gameplay, right? I actually put Bloodborne as probably one of my favorite of the Souls-likes in terms of sheer gameplay. And I had pretty serious issues with Bloodborne, and I still say that. No, I'm going to be taking a baseball bat to Shadowlands. BFA I'm curious about. We'll see when we get there. There we go. There's my map. Right. What do we got? This is not helpful at all. Sekiro's an interesting one. Because Sekiro did a lot of things very right. One second. Huh. Especially its level design. I would actually say Sekiro had some of the best level design of the Souls-likes I've played. And I love the parry-style gameplay, but I also ran into a wall in the game, and that is what it is. I just did not enjoy... I can't remember, Genichiro, I think it was, the fight. And I never actually got past it, legit. You want me to review Diablo 3? Done. I think it's still the third highest rated game on my list. Have I played Lies of P? No, I have not. Oh, Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls is another one of those games which I'm not sure people actually want me to review. Here we go. This is what I wanted. Sorry, we're going to be doing some stuff here really quick. I think I missed a question from Verlictum, if you want to repeat it. Not the one you just asked, the one you asked before that. Which is worse, subjectively, Diablo 4 or Diablo Immortal? Diablo Immortal. Diablo Immortal is one of the only games that I think challenges FF14 1.0 for worst game ever. For me personally. Hello? Prime 4, that was it. You were asking about Prime 4. I knew there was a question I missed. Thank you for repeating it. Am I worried about Prime 4? Believe it or not, no. And I want to explain why. First of all, I have tremendous faith in both Retro and Nintendo. They're one of the last gaming companies out there that I just have a huge amount of faith in. Second of all, gotta grab this while we're here. The fact that they were willing to shut it down and restart production and openly admit it, that's important, is honestly kind of shocking. And once again, makes me think that that's a good thing. That's what I would consider to be a good thing. Because, yeah, the fact that they communicated, okay, the game sucked, we had issues, we rebooted the thing, we brought in these people, this is now where we're going with this game. What most game companies would do is they would do that and not tell us. And we'd have to rely on leaks or insider information or whatever in order to even divine that, like what happened with Dragon Age 4. Dragon Age 4, to our knowledge, rebooted production a minimum of 3 times. And all of that's like reverse engineered information. They never said anything about that. They never were open about that. Nintendo said, hey, we did this. We screwed up. We're restarting. That level of openness and honesty goes a long way for me. And I also think that Nintendo screws up on a lot of specific things, but they still tend to put out really good products. Like even Echoes of Wisdom, which I had very serious issues with, is still a damned good game, right? And yeah, cough, cough, Silk Song, but again, Dragon Age 4, which just came out, is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. We know they had tremendous issues under the hood, but not because they ever told us.
There can be no progress without sacrifice.
Who are you, and why do you need me to... I might be on the verge of a breakthrough of a new source of magic, but I require tools. I can only access my workshop, but I've seen the demons before using tools.
I must unlock these secrets.
Okay, let's go see what we can find here. No, what happened, Dick? Also, don't know. I suppose I'm an idiot because trailers lie and game companies are deceptive. But did you see the gameplay trailer for Prime 4? Nintendo tends to put out very, very, very specific trailers because they do what I like to call showcasing trailers, which most people don't do anymore. A showcasing trailer is exactly what it sounds like. It's intended to showcase things so that the viewers can watch it and be like, ah, this is the type of gameplay you're going to get. You know, it actually gives the viewer some kind of idea of what they're in for, as opposed to just, you know, being a pre-rendered cutscene or being flashy or showing off the best part or just playing the demo or whatever, right? Instead of some bullshot, we instead get something worth a damn. And the Prime 4 gameplay trailer was a good showcase trailer. We have a pretty decent idea of how Prime 4 is going to play just based on that trailer. I mean, I have covered games before where it's so obvious that it's more than one game stitched together before. I've covered shows like that. Warlords, God. Wait, hold on. So, lead dev is like, hey, something's coming soon. And then nothing happened. People got pissed. The marketing guy didn't say it to himself, but instead told us some YouTuber to tell fans about the misunderstanding. Wow! Okay. Yeah, no, that's not a good look regardless. Look, I do understand why most large-scale companies don't admit fault. It's because that opens legal liability for lawsuits and other things. Which is stupid, but it's still true. But, like, surely Team Cherry can afford to be transparent, right? And let me tell you something. I cannot be the only person in the world who values it when a company or a development team is producing something and is honest with me about it. If Team Cherry just came out and was like, yeah, okay, here, look. This is what's going on. I would be a lot more tolerant and understanding than nothing.
I am looking for an assistant.
That was all you could find. I suppose it'll have to do, though it's a primitive instrument.
Go forth, and be quick about it. I
can sense residues of magic all over you. You will be useful. I must study how the demon bodies handle the fell energies in such large quantities. I have plenty of flesh to sample, but there must be some... go retrieve some spines from the basilisk, so I may analyze their magical residues. No sense in both of us getting our hands dirty, is there? You know, that's fair, Huthor.
Go forth, and be quick about it.
An early step to understanding how magic works is to understand and study materials that use magic. That's how I made my breakthrough on Warlock Soul Crystals, after all. The worm-tongued minions in this pit hammer their plates into structures for supports and maintenance. This will be a good starting point. Fetch some of my faithful assistants.
I must unlock these secrets.
Yeah, what we need to do... First thing we do, kill all the lawyers. Sorry, just old joke. Very, very, very old joke. I'm not even sure how old that joke is, actually. I mean, there's a reason why when FF14 admitted that 1.0 was failing and they had to restart everything, that was considered a really big deal. Like the fact that they actually admitted that so openly and so publicly was considered shocking.
We will cleanse the universe in fire!
worked. By many accounts, them being so honest about it is one of the reasons ARR got its shot. I would be one of the people who agrees with that, by the way. If you remember, I actually studied 1.0 and the creation of ARR extensively for the FF14 lore run. But no, I bring up the lawyer thing. I can't remember who it was I was talking to recently, but I was talking to somebody, probably my extremely real Canadian girlfriend, that we were talking about why it is that these kind of nonsense lawsuits, like the anti-emulation stuff from Nintendo, happen. And the reason's actually extremely simple. It's because their legal department wants to keep making a paycheck. Heh. Lol, as it is. Yeah, no, they need to justify their existence. They need to prove that they are worth the money. They are a... what lawyers should be at large-scale companies is there for when they're needed. But unfortunately, because real life is stupid, people don't think that a fire extinguisher is actually useful. Yeah, exactly, Tagoda. So they need to constantly prove that they're doing something to justify their paychecks, to justify being on the staff, the payroll. So, lawyers start crap, even when they know. I know I've said this several times this week, but Nintendo's legal team has flat out admitted that the overwhelming majority of emulation is actually legal. And that they have no grounds for going after several of the emulators that they have. I like it too. That's a very nice water texture. And the way it kind of like moves in fits and spurts kind of gets that gelatinous vibe, doesn't it? It's great. Yes, Evo, that is exactly correct. That's why I transitioned into the joke. First thing we do, kill all the lawyers. The problem is, and I know this sounds strange, it's not really the fault of the lawyers there per se. It really is the fault of management, as Dakota pointed out. I'm going to sound very strange here, but I actually know quite a few lawyers in person in real life, and I've interacted with several lawyers professionally. I know more decent lawyers, decent people, not just good at their job lawyers, than I should probably admit to, because I know that people will immediately paint me with a negative brush just for saying that out loud. I guarantee you that a decent number of those lawyers on those teams are just doing what they're doing because they have to. Because otherwise, they'd be fired. And yeah, when I was getting prepped for the Shadowlands, when I was doing some back-end research for Shadowlands, I noticed they lied a lot about Shadowlands. And I say they to just be general, like overall, right? Like just a large group of people lied during Shadowlands. Even though, as you say, Huthor, it's so obvious they knew they were lying, right? Like they knew well in advance where things were going and how things were going. I don't know any fun lawyers. But again, it's because they have to. I mean, Blizzard fans are notoriously awful. I count myself as one of them. I will freely smear myself with that brush because we tend to take this stuff a little bit too seriously. And I'm one of the more reasonable ones. You know? Anyways.
There can be no progress without
I hope you brought enough. It'll require more energy for my studies to be complete.
Go forth, and be quick about it.
Spell magic is strange, almost slippery like oil, and it burns long and hot. Maybe there's a connection.
I must unlock these secrets.
It's time to embrace the future. I have mastered every magic known to our kind. I will master this one. By applying the principles of arcane magic, It is fairly trivial to control the primitive fell energies within the material you've given me. I will move to live prey next. Let's start with a summoning.
Go forth, and be quick about it.
Okay.
I am looking for an assist. This summoning will use much of my strength. Be prepared for a fight.
It took all your energy to summon a worm tongue? Jesus, dude.
You have done it. Now, to begin with a simple extraction. The power. I can control it. Yes! I need it all!
Krytos.
There can be no progress
Yes, the
without
power is different. Brutal, blunt, powerful. I can control it. I can master it.
I must unlock these secrets.
I have made a great discovery. There's a powerful warlock in the Soul Engine, in possession of a powerful tome. It contains forbidden secrets to summoning the most powerful of demons. Even the Legion is afraid to call on these Fell Lords, but I possess knowledge beyond theirs.
Go forth, and be quick about it.
My faithful assistant, I have just the task for you. As you've seen, fell power permeates living tissue and can be easily coaxed out. Also, these damned bats are driving me to wit's end. There's an opportunity to kill 2 bats with 1 blade. Your blade. You may as well bring back their hides if I'll finish up that fellow in the corner for a few moments. Oh, the poor leatherworking trainer.
I must unlock these secrets.
The power burns so brightly. My brothers are a fool to ignore this gift. Once I have enough energy, I can take back the city by myself.
Go forth.
I need more power. I need more. I can control the energies in there enough to sustain me. I will not end up like the withered, like those weaklings. Get out there, slay demons. Bring me their essence. Make it quick.
I must unlock these.
Notice he is already jonesing for his second hit. And I want to stress, second hit. What I find very funny is we're doing this quest on a demon hunter. And I like to think that we're doing this on our demon hunter just very knowingly. We're not even responding to him. Just like, okay. We know where this is going. We know exactly where this is going. I've actually theorized a few times that due to elves' magical thing, they're actually more susceptible to Fel than everyone else. Because, well, you know. Yeah, just waiting for the excuse, says Miristar. It's like, alright, I'll play along. If you manage it, congrats. You won't. No one ever does.
We are Legion.
That doesn't surprise me, Mr. Floyd. Especially in the modern era, post-patch support is actually kind of rare, especially from a AAA company like EA. I wonder what the Demon Hunter would think of the Black Harvest. Because the Black Harvest managed to stay on the line, on the rope, pretty well. They do slip. Kenrathod slipped.
This should prove enlightening.
Yeah, I was just thinking in my head, trying to come up with an appropriate analogy for what that guy just went through. I'm not sure there is such a thing. Like, he's starving, and he suddenly starts feeding on Fel. The Black Harvest refers to a specific organization of 7 warlocks who banded together for mutual cooperation and power. Now, what I mean is... Sorry, let me explain that more clearly. All of them understand the risks of what they're doing, and so their job is not just to, like, help each other to gain more power, but also to double-check each other, in case any of them fall to Fel. They actually came up all the way back in Pandaria during the green... Swimming in meth. The green fire quest, or the green flame quest. Green flame. So, yeah, basically think the Shadow Council, but with a frickin' brain, and generally more good aligned than, you know, mwahaha, serve the Legion. The Warlock player character is actually a member of the Black Harvest Council, to put that into a bit of perspective. How does Fel work? Well, if you mean the absolute fundamentals, who knows? But Fel is magical fire. I don't mean like flame. I mean, it burns fuel in order to burn extremely brightly. Yeah, it's unmaking, quite literally. It undoes life and creation in order to fuel itself. Now, the reason I say fire very specifically is because, similar to how fire is a chemical reaction that can change the nature of a matter, Fel is a magical reaction that can change the nature of life. Sorry, life is the wrong word. Let's go with existence? We'll go with existence. That's probably a good word for it. Let me put this in a slightly different way. When you... Really has this. When you burn, a log, the fire then provides warmth, and that's cool. But that's... As weird as that sounds, that's you applying the byproduct of the burning to your own ends, right? The fire doesn't care about the fact that it's generating the heat or the fact that you need it to stay warm or to cook. It is just burning the wood. That's what Fel is. Fel generates a tremendous amount of power, but it doesn't really do so for any point or purpose. That's your job to then apply it to something. Now, Fel is also extraordinarily destructive. It literally increases the amount of entropy in existence, and will eventually, inevitably self-destruct. Like, if Fel is just allowed to keep going, that'll be the end of everything. However, you can then use that energy that's released as a byproduct of that in order to accomplish a great number of things. What is entropy? Okay, easy explanation. Let's assume let's make up some numbers. Let's say that I move my arm, okay? That took energy to do that. I needed fuel to provide that energy. The amount of fuel that provided can be provided by my body, thanks to the fact that I have several engines in me that can take in resources like food and turn that into the energy to then move my arm. You with me? But if you were to think about the amount of energy I took in, this is not a Nazi salute. This is a Nazi salute, Elon Musk. So, if I... and this is what a dab looks like. For anybody who's trying to use that defense. No, this is a dab. So, the amount of... if we were to break down the amount of materials I put into myself to do this, versus the energy it took to do this, the input and the output are not the same. Some of the energy is lost in the process. That is entropy. The gap in between efficiency. Does that make sense? Everything is slowly losing energy, consistently and persistently on a universal scale. It is an extraordinarily slow process, but it is near as we can tell, one of the fundamental concepts of reality from our current understanding of it. Look, Joe Penklin. Look, I'm sorry, he did a Nazi salute. I've even explained why he did a Nazi salute. I'm just pointing out that people saying he didn't are on crack. That's all I'm saying. Come here. Sure. Okay, so Elon Musk is a 12-year-old. Now, I'm not saying this to insult him. I have plenty of methods to insult Elon Musk. It is a statement of fact that the man has no emotional maturity whatsoever. He never has. His entire career. If you've ever looked at anything he's ever done in the last 30 years, you've seen that he is a man-child, as we use the term. So he likes to do things that are big and edgy because he thinks it'll make him cool, because he thinks it'll make him likable and popular, because that's his infantile idea of what makes something interesting. So, throwing out the Nazi salute in the middle of that event, that's edgy. That just, oh man, I'm so cool. Oh, so you guys don't even know. You guys don't even know how awesome I am. That's the mentality. That's why he did it. That's it. That's all. There's nothing else to that. There's no depth here. There's no complexity. There's no layers. Dude's a child. The end. Yeah, he's that 12-year-old on Call of Duty who's constantly saying racist jokes because he thinks it makes him come off cross as if he's hard. Sorry, 5. I'll get rid of it in a minute, I swear. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's what I find funniest about that incident, Hazardous, is it's so astonishingly easy to prove that he was cheating. Anybody with a functioning brain could watch it for 5 minutes and be like, oh yeah, no, he's cheating. Got it. But of course he did that because he thinks it'll make him look cool. 12-year-old.
Well, what have we here? A thief? Be careful what you wish for.
Look, I get it. I've been 12 years old, too. I have. I know that's shocking. I remember that embarrassing age. With tons of shame. Yes, Thor, I've seen that. Yeah, I was 12 for a whole year. It sucked. That's a good question, Hazardous. I
am looking for an.
I know his father didn't contribute to it.
Suppose you will do. Go forth.
So within these pages lies the secret to true mastery of this power.
I must unlock these secrets.
Yes.
Go forth and be.
I must have the essence. He greedily consumes the essence. Much better. My senses are focused and ready for research.
I must unlock these secrets.
Yes, I've had it with the small fry assistant. Time to go straight to the top. The tome is the key to unlocking the potential of our people. Don't worry, young one. I have enough power to complete the task at hand. Let us harness fell magic and change the future. Follow me and witness the redemption of the Shal'Darai.
Meet me on the other side of this portal. I must prepare for the ritual there. You are here. All is ready. Go. Be ready, assistant. I shall begin drawing power from the ship's stores.
You're drawing... Oh my god, dude. Do you have any idea what you're doing? I mean, we know the answer to that. The answer is nope.
So much power. I can handle it. I can take more. So that is the key. More. More! Much better. I have all the power I could want. Yet I still crave more. Your soul will do nicely.
Okay. It's important to note, for the sake of context, that he was never a hard fight. Ever. He was always a pathetic fight. Will Pride Month happen this year? Oh, that's an interesting question. Here's a better question. Do you think some companies out there will try to capitalize on making Pride Month as if it's some big, noble stand for equality? Keep in mind, they don't actually do anything. They throw up a couple of banner ads and that's it. Should be like right here. I might have already gotten this one. So we already came through here for the quest. Oh yeah, and despite what some people might think, Kuthor is correct. The United States is not the center of the world. Reminds me of one of my favorite jokes, which I'm going to butcher the telling of. There it is. Sorry, a little pro tip if you're playing this game. With outlines on, you can see outlines easier at a distance. Do you see how much more obvious that is from up here? Grab that. What was I going to say? Oh god, I can't remember the damn joke now. It was something about, like... Yeah, no, that's going to bother me because I don't remember the wording of it. It was someone who was like, hey, you know, here's some interesting and random situation about alcohol and drinking rights and ages. And someone was relating a story about how they had to send someone away because they were too young and blah, blah, blah. The response to that was, I thought in every state in the country, you know, the drinking age was such and such. And the response from the same person was, I am from one of literally dozens of people who do not live in the United States. I know I just butchered that joke, and I'm sorry, but it was really funny. Just trust me, bro. That would be funny, Roz. There's dozens of us. Dozens of us. Not me, I live in the States, but dozens of you. Dozens of you. Anyways. Now, you want to hear something funny? I think over the next coming years we'll finally define what an executive order actually is legally. Because, believe it or not, it's a hell of a gray area. Yeah, but what is it legally, Act? Let me just skip ahead. There is no actual legal framework for executive orders. Like, the idea is that it's the head of the executive branch. Yeah, I remember that, Ross. Giving an order. But it's actually not. It's more like a suggestion that people have, for the most part, followed. And we've never really needed to define that more legally. And you may or may not be aware of why I'm bringing this up. But for those of you not aware, how many of you are aware of the fact that there are dozens, actual dozens, of states in the United States right now who are currently actively suing the federal government, and the executive branch in particular, in order to disagree with / discontinue / not comply with several of those executive orders. And again, they can do that because there's no legal framework for what an executive order is. It's just the head of the executive office saying, do this. Completely off topic. I was looking into executive orders recently because I was very curious. Fair, as it is. And who here can guess, preferably if you don't know, which U.S. president issued the most executive orders in history? Behind the waterfall? Trump, Biden, Trump again, Lincoln, Turnip. I don't know who the Turnip is. Trump, Biden, Eisenhower, Washington, Obama, Teddy Roosevelt. I am shocked none of you are guessing it. No offense. Sorry. To me, this is one of those things that was so obvious in hindsight. It's FDR. World War II. Dude did a lot that he probably was not legally allowed to get away with during World War II. Like, a lot. He also had more terms than anybody else. So, yeah. When I say he did more executive orders, I mean by like a factor of, you know, and let me just look it up. Let me just look it up again, because I was just looking at those. Was it 3? I believe you. I believe you. Yeah, so most presidents do about 100-ish, right? Every now and then you'll see someone who does something like 1,000 or whatever. FDR did almost 4,000. Yeah, 3,721. For a bit of perspective, a lot of you are guessing Trump, he did 220. Yeah. Lincoln, hang on. I don't think executive orders existed for Lincoln, did they? Hang on, let's double check that. Nope, I'm wrong. They did. Is Lincoln even on this list? No, there he is. 48. Lincoln did 48. My bad. By the way, Teddy did 1,081. So, good guess on that one. I would believe that, Huthor, if you've read the wording on it. I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole of, you know, AI sucks. I think most people are aware of that fact. But something I've noticed a lot of people do is they'll use AI to put together a framework, and then they go back over it and do that editing pass. What I have noticed is that several of the wording of several of those orders certainly feels like they didn't do that editing pass. You know what I mean? That's true, Hazardous. Yeah, editing takes time. I don't have time. Okay, it's the burial urn, so it's probably not here. There it is. Yep, we're all lesbians. Or trans, actually. Congrats. Okay. Yeah, sorry, all non-binary is actually what it actually is. Okay, so we're up to 900 max. I missed one. Dude, Teddy... Several people have asked me my favorite presidents. Teddy Roosevelt is usually towards the top of that list. And the more I study that, the more I agree with it. Teddy Roosevelt, Lincoln, which he had issues, but I'll agree with it. Yeah, Eisenhower, I'll actually agree with. I'm not sure I agree with the common consensus that Carver was a terrible... Jimmy Carter, excuse me, was a terrible president. I'd have to do more research to really give a definitive opinion on that, but I have to give a special mention to Jimmy Carter. Ugh. Yeah, I hear that opinion a lot, Blade 12, but again, I need to do some more specific research in order to have my own opinion on the matter. Worst president? I mean, Buchanan. That's a really easy choice. I'm sorry, Buchanan was a terrible, terrible president. Although Andrew Jackson, that's actually a pretty good pick. That gets into defining what makes someone... This is like the worst Star Trek episode. What specifically makes it the worst? And yeah, Johnson and Jackson are both just... Wow. Wow. Like, I know some people would put Grant as the worst, specifically because of how horrifically corrupt his administration was. But, like, oof. And then there's Wilson. Jesus Christ, Woodrow Wilson was just not a good person. I've heard that argument too, Blade Tefall, and I disagree with it. And if I could say very, very simply why, it's because of the fact that Buchanan didn't allow the American Civil War to happen. He made sure that it was going to be the worst possible thing it could have been. Like, I actually have looked into Buchanan. That's why he was right at the top of my head there, is because I've actually studied him a little bit. And he... Dude went out of his way to make everything as worse as he possibly could. Is that it? That might be it. There it is. What did he do to do that? Do you have an hour? Of course I do. Well, I don't. Go look it up for yourself. Don't listen to some random YouTuber. I guess I'm not a YouTuber. Point being. Okay. Yeah, he... Now, here's the question mark. Yeah, I just found the Infinity Stone, by the way. That's not even a joke. Here's the question mark. Did Buchanan deliberately push the cart down the hill? Or did he push the cart down the hill through incompetence? That I'm not sure about. See, that's the question mark. I mean, that's pretty common, Huthor. I mean, Kennedy, hello. Kennedy wasn't exactly a bad president, but a lot of people put him at the top of the list because he died. Oh, okay. How would I rank Washington? Washington is an interesting one to me. I've heard some people argue that he had no choice in the matter. But one thing that it's always stuck with me about Washington is that he had the power of a king and all that that meant back in, when he was alive. And he deliberately went out of his way to limit the power he had, his office had, and backed away from it when given the option to keep hold of it. That stuck with me. I can't speak to everything else. But that is interesting. Yeah, Washington set a lot of precedent. And by all accounts did so deliberately. Can you guys de-aggro me, please? Yeah, fine. I'm not here. Wait, in which way? Off the deep end? Because I will freely and unabashedly admit that I am definitely a Reagan hater. I hate Reagan so much. Now, I have a personal reason to hate Reagan. He was in my lifetime. No historical precedents here. He specifically and deliberately made my life worse, along with the lives of my family. My own mother was a huge Reagan supporter.
An illusion. What are you?
Now, can anyone here guess why? You're probably gonna laugh if you haven't, if you don't know.
Lowborn scum!
Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, I hit the wrong button. Hang on, I gotta hit some buttons here. Because he was an actor. Good guess, but actually no. It's because he was a great governor of California. Now, some of you are going to be like, I don't get it. And some of you are like, oh my god! And I just want you to know, every single one of you who just said, oh my god! Thumbs up from me for knowing immediately. Yeah, the context clues are probably clear enough without me having to go into detail. It's no surprise that my mother is a Nixon supporter, though. So I'm not saying that all Republicans are awful. Just to be very clear about that. Let's get that out of the way. But for the longest time, I wondered why my own mother, who taught me quite a few things that I actually consider to be fairly progressive-leaning thoughts, tends to adhere so much to the Republican Party. Now, some of you have heard me talk about this before. It's because her mother was a Republican. But why is her mother a Republican? Well, it's because my mother's husband, aka my grandfather, was into organized crime. There's no nice way to say that. And I was just debating if there's any way to dance around that. But nope, that's it. And so not at that level. He was nobody important. I don't want to like talk him up. But
an illusion.
That's where a lot of the family fortune came from. And a lot of that actually goes all the way back to Prohibition. I found this out pretty recently, actually. No joke.
We are the chosen.
My biological family are actually pretty recent to the United States. We only came over here
Greetings.
like in very, very, very early 1900s, so like right before World War I era. And immediately made a ton of money off of Prohibition by being rum runners. And that just naturally transitioned into that. Actually, yeah, right around Trump Sr.
Impossible!
Do you guys please stop aggroing me so I can stop murdering your citizenry? I'm trying to actually do quests here. Yes.
Impossible!
Full Germans. The only non-German blood... I found this out recently, too. The only non-German blood I have in me is from my dad's dad's dad, who we know is from Lebanon. We don't know much else about him, because he was a non-documented person. He just got on a boat and came over. We're not even sure of his name. Okay, you done? Can I stop killing y'all, please? That's a good question, Bladeful. I don't know. Because I have noticed an interesting thing. This is purely anecdotal. But I've noticed quite a few people in my own sphere of existence
An illusion.
tend to vote Democratic despite not actually having party loyalty to the Democratic Party. Because, you know, the alternative, right? There's so many detectors over here. Go away, I'm trying to get mana. No! Alright, you're all dead. You're all dead. You're all dead. All dead. I have no idea, Mr. Floyd. I will admit, try to be shocked. I don't care too much about blood. I never have. Like, seriously, ironically, my mother is one of the people who helped teach me to not really care about blood. This is funny to me because lately she's been really big about blood family and how I need to be more loyal to the family. Yes, really. This is actually a thing I'm dealing with right now. So, I don't actually know that much details going too far back. Wait, my blood! No! Thor! Could be hazardous, who knows? The most mediocre president, Coolidge. You know, ironically, I don't know enough about the mediocre presidents to really comment on that. The ones that nobody has ever heard of. I mean, honestly, that wouldn't even surprise me, Evo. Not that it matters. Okay, I need to take a brief AFK. I'll be right back. Oh, Clinton was also a huge problem, but don't get started on that. All right. Doesn't he stream Hazardous? I appreciate y'all helping with this. I have a bit of a headache, and I'm exhausted, and I'm in pain because of whatever stomach thing is going on here. So it's kind of hard to stay focused. So believe it or not, randomly chatting about politics has actually been helping me stay focused. Appreciate you. I apologize to those of you who hate it when I do that. My bad. Let's talk about WoW for just for a second. Not just for a second. Bear with me. Bear with me. Okay. So that took us, looks like about 40 minutes. 40 minutes of grinding out the resources in order to progress the MSQ. Not great. Also, I knew what I was doing, and I had a freaking walkthrough. I had coordinates of where to go to get the hidden treasures to make this. And yeah, that's the first time we're doing that of probably about 3. Because we need about 3,620. Sorry, 3,250. My bad. So part of what we just did is we upped our cap. You see that right there? Ancient Mana. It's at 1,000 of 1,000. In other words, our cap is currently 1,000. It used to be 500, so we ran around gathering 5, I think it was actually 4. No, it was 5 treasures, which raised that cap by 100. So now we can actually carry 1,000 mana at once. So the cap, the rareness of raising the cap, and then the farming itself. All of this is tied to MSQ, by the way. There's no denying that Suramar is MSQ. This is central plot territory. There's no debatable here. So this is awful. So let's... God, where do we even start? So let's go with... I'm actually going to do a quality of life negative for the cap. Wait, what are they arguing, J. Palmer? Oh, people only care about raiding. Nighthold is a raid, I'm just saying. Also, they're dumb and wrong. So, We've got the Ancient Mana cap. That's awful. It's the exact opposite of a quality of life change. It is a detriment of life, right? Like, there's no... It makes it worse, because even if you just decide to go out, farm mana, come back, go out, farm mana, come back, that's not super feasible. I'm going to go ahead and tell you something. It's fell of life. It is possible, I know this because I've done this, to reach a point where you need more Ancient Mana for a quest than you can carry. At that point, you have to go seek out the mana cap raisers, because otherwise you literally are incapable of progressing. So, double negative for that. Then there's the grind itself. Now, we just did 40 minutes of grind. That's not great. Double negative. We will see how much additional grind we'll have to do in the future. You may or may not noticed, I actually did grab a few items to help with the second bundle of grind. But even this is only going to be 250 additional mana right here. And as you can see, you probably can't tell. But as you can probably tell, there's a fairly large chunk of this space, right? You can't see my mouse. There's a fairly large chunk around me where there's just suddenly no treasures, because that's where we've been getting mana. 3,600. Yeah, grind can be designed to not be boring. In fact, as I've said before, if grind is enjoyable, then it's not grind at that point. By definition, using definitions as I usually define them. There is a difference between grinding and leveling. And if you just progress through these quests, and like in the areas where you quest, there's the treasure, or in the areas where you quest, there's the resources, or the ancient mana, or maybe the quests themselves gave you the cap you need, or maybe you could turn in the mana periodically, right? Like, there are ways to weave grind into the normal flow of gameplay to the point where you don't just hit red light and go run in a circle for half an hour. Now, hang on. Some people do enjoy leveling, even if it's hitting red light and going running a circle for a level. But the way you usually make that work, the way that usually is enjoyable, is you make it noticeable in terms of progression. So, for example, yeah, good grind generally isn't going to be noticed, but you can still make pausing and leveling fun by making it rewarding, or by making the grind itself engaging, right? So if you actually have fun leveling because you do something interesting with it, because maybe you get different abilities, or maybe because combat's interesting, or whatever. Yeah, viscerality helps, variety of activities helps. There's a lot of things you can do to make leveling more interesting. I say leveling, this applies to everything. Whether you're grinding out iron ore, or experience points, or gold, or equipment, or whatever, it doesn't matter, right? Leveling is leveling. And yeah, the Suikoden games have catch-up mechanics, which help a lot. And yeah, the minute-to-minute gameplay also matters. Thankfully, WoW has very good minute-to-minute gameplay. However, yeah. The other thing you could do is you can try to make it rewarding. Sorry, that was the other thing I was going towards. So, like, for example, let me use a direct example, okay? This is very personal, but I kind of like leveling in FF6. Part of the reason why is because the way I do it is very, very rewarding. So let me put it in this terminology. So I put a really nice MP booster, spell power booster on, say, Setzer. And then I go to the Tyrannosaur Forest, and then I fight one T-Rex, and he kills my ass. And I reload the save, which I made right before the fight. Then I fight another T-Rex, and he kills my ass. And then I fight a third T-Rex, and I barely managed, and I do mean barely managed to kill that one T-Rex. This is all legitimately difficult stuff to do, very, very down to setting it up, just so, knowing the fights, knowing the gameplay, knowing exactly how to fight it. I kill one T-Rex, and I instantly gain like 5 levels. The next T-Rex I fight, substantially smoother, because those 5 levels were lucrative, and I had it set up right so that I would benefit from those levels, right? That's not a great example, but you get the idea, right? I'm able to noticeably, visibly progress as I am leveling, as I am going through the grind. And so that tends to smooth over the grind and make it more into leveling. FF7 is another example of this. As you level up your materia, each time a new materia gains a new spell or an ability, it's usually a noticeable, oh, that's cool, kind of an improvement, right? Going from something as fundamentally basic as Fire 1 to Fire 2 is a pretty big jump up in terms of output in FF7. Never mind all of the other stuff, which gives you an additional cast of an AoE, or makes it so that you have increased chance to counterattack, or whatever, right? Stuff like that. Yeah, FF9, gaining the new ability from the item and being able to permanently equip it on something else. Another good example of that. So, there are ways you can make grind interesting and fun and cool, and running around a city looking for ancient mana is not one of them. So let's go turn this crap in. Here you go. Oh yeah, also, I actually have a term for this too. It's called staircase leveling. It's when each additional progression feels like a noticeable improvement in power rating, right? It's the exact opposite of Final Fantasy X. No offense to FF10, but FF10 has the exact opposite of staircase progression. Your increase in powers are so tiny and so minute that you barely notice it. By contrast, in most Dragon Quest games, for example, the really good Dragon Quest games, you gain a new level and it's like, or you gain, you gain enough gold to go buy that new weapon in the shop, and all of a sudden you're two-shotting enemies, right? Just bam, very big, noticeable improvement. Staircase.
The Nightwell calls to me. The Shalderai will be redeemed.
There we go. Write down that positive, because I did like that quest. Then there's Earthbound, which is basically Fire Emblem, if you think about it. Oh, dead levels just do not help this whole process at all.
Be careful who you trust.
Theron is at the mercy of his own mind. Whatever we find in there may be difficult to control. I'll need your help to sort through the visions. Okay.
Suramar must be... Let us begin. Come along, Theron.
The best? Honestly, that depends on your metric, J. Palmer. I've encountered dozens of games over the years that make leveling fun.
Narthala Vas Manari. I feel them. His memories. The day he was exiled. Dismiss these memories so we can proceed.
Wait, when you say dismiss these memories... In Fire Emblem, when you level up, there's some dice that roll to determine what stats you gain upon level up. That can be very good, very bad, and everything in between. Same thing with Earthbound. Same exact problem. Now, Earthbound actually has an asterisk to that, because Earthbound has certain specific levels which have a guarantee of being a big boost in certain stats. To my knowledge, Fire Emblem doesn't have that, so don't quote me on that.
This hunger, this fear. I too have felt it. Let us move on.
I'm almost sad about that pillar just now.
Thala Narvalas. Such confusion. Such rage. I am losing control.
Yet you're delving into the mind of someone who doesn't have one anymore. What do you think was going to happen?
Make them stop! Please make them stop! Ah! Enough! There. You found something, didn't you? Something which gave you peace. A peace we so desperately need for ourselves.
Telisra! Are you all right?
I am fine.
So in addition to being an awesome quest there, which deserves its own positive, did you see that object he found? Once again, little things. Thank you, Ecolitus, very much. I will go ahead and jot that down if you give me a moment. For Patch Trail. You said Patchwalker, and it's like, we already did that. Sea of Stars and near Replicant R. You got it. Oh no, Theron is such a tiny... Legion does this a lot, and I love the dominoes. Cordona Fellsong and Theron are both nobody-nothings that you probably don't even remember either of their names, and have never heard of them before. But they both directly lead to the fact that this game goes the way it does, the way the plot goes, right? They're just tiny little nails that happen to be missing in that horseshoe. You know what I mean? I'm using my analogies wrong, but I think you get the idea.
Aran Arcana.
The Withered. Not only do they suffer a burning thirst for the Nightwell, but their own memories torture them. It is a fate worse than death.
The Shalderai will be redeemed.
Yet, to my knowledge, being a true Withered, which is the final state here, is not curable. But, as we talked about earlier, not curable is kind of a temporary status in this setting. It's possible they will eventually be able to restore the Withered. Some parts of their minds are still there, after all. I do not know what Theron found, but I know where. Moonshade's Sanctum. Whatever power there altered his arcane essence. It's what allowed Keldanis to create a spell to soothe the Withered.
We are only as strong as our will.
And it is incredibly important. I'm sorry, I know I'm overstating this, I apologize, but all I'm going to say is this right here, this is a sea change for the entire setting. We're still examining the consequences of this. In fact, I hope that this will come back up during midnight. Because it should. So.
Can you hear me? Do not be alarmed.
Ah!
Arcane communion forms a bond that transcends physical space. I shall do my best to keep Theron off the line.
Poor Theron. Sorry, I was just looking something up. Apologies. So, there's a relic. Let's see if we can unlock it. We've recently done a puzzle like this. Oh, yep, spiders. By what metric, J. Palmer? I feel like I've asked that of you recently. Spiders! Oh, a purely story zone? Debatable. For example, the final zone of the current expansion, which I am not naming on purpose, is very similar to Suramar in overall structure and scope. You're probably level 80 by the time you even get to it, and it's very story-centric. But it's not quite the same thing. Right. You asked me that earlier, Yura. It was the nudity. I couldn't deal with it. No, I think... I don't remember. I remember that me and my friends poked at it like we do pretty much every MMO, and we just bounced off of it immediately. When did Age of Conan come out, Yura, specifically? As the magical barrier fades, you hear the rustling of leaves and clattering of mandibles. "2008 would have been Wrath of the Lich King." And that's probably your answer right there. What are those? And why are... Oh my god. I hope so. There's a very good chance that the Undermined is going to be our next Suramar. Okay, time to hold off the Endless Scourge. I mean, a Swarm. I mean... Yes, these are Spider Elves. These are called Faldorai. These are... We're doing them a favor. Let's just say that as simply as we possibly can. We are doing them a favor here. What caused them? Don't worry, this quest screen will answer that, so I will not answer it right now.
A gift fit for a queen. You have my thanks. Now the power of the Arcantor is mine.
Thank you. Hello, Faradin. Can I just say, I know a lot of people don't like Faradin because he's kind of an asshole, but I kind of like Faradin.
Ishnu Allah.
Do you have any idea what you've done?
Walk with purpose.
I have protected that seed for 10,000 years, and you let it fall into the hands of the Faldorai. I should have let you die. Repay your debt. Help me get that seed back.
Farewell. Come. The Faldorai make their home in the ruins below.
If you remember, by the way, earlier, he was referenced by the researcher who was out here. He mentioned a night elf woke him up with a dagger to his throat, demanding to know what he was doing with Withered. You remember that? This guy has been here for a long time.
Down. Follow the water.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of social graces. Which makes sense. He's been out here for a while. There he is. Taking me so long.
I know my path.
We must move swiftly.
Seek harmony.
Orithis has underestimated the seed. It's sapping her power and slowing her down. We must catch her and get the seed to safety.
Ande for us, Athil.
Let's do it.
There she is.
Foolish surface dwellers, begone! Come, my children, feast on their bones.
My bones are not very tasty. I'm just gonna let you know in advance. Worth it if I'm a Death Knight. Think about it. Oh, okay. Well, I'll stop to kill you then. I was gonna just keep killing you as I ran, but you know, if you're insistent, Jesus.
She must not open the seed.
Working on it.
Persistent vermin.
There's so many ways this... I'm just, as we're going through this, I'm thinking in my head how many ways this could have gone wrong. Yes, please do, Zara. I'm getting a little distracted by MSQ. So I'm not doing boring grind anymore, so all of a sudden the Q&A period just kind of shifted there. Alright, lady. Give me that.
The Arkandor will live again with its power. My prize. It grows heavy.
It's called The Hunt. It's from Shadowlands, actually. So, take this in for a second. Does this room look familiar? It should. It's very similar to the chamber we've been building up as our base. Shalaran. And at the middle is what used to be a tree, which is currently completely overwhelmed by arcane, crystallized arcane energy. So much so that it's ripping out into the ceiling and walls and all kinds of fun stuff. One second. A recent? The seed is awakening. Without power, it will quickly wither and die. We must carry the seed out of here and plant it somewhere safe. I'm not strong enough to bear this burden, but you are brimming with power. I can sense it. Please take the seed.
This passage will lead us out.
So yeah, we're on a bit of a timer now.
Not far now. I know you have been rebuilding the old teleporters. The beacon here will connect us to your Shelderai friends.
Ah, the Temple of Faladora. Those halls once glowed with prayers to Elune. I imagine it is less hospitable now. Hold still, I will get you out of there.
One to be Mount Ocliffe. Thank you. You're bro.
Quickly, you must plant the seed.
Are you sure? We saw what happened in the other room.
Place it here, where it can drink of the ley line.
By the way, notice this will increase our maximum mana by 300. So do you see how that looks like a constructed seed?
It is an Arkandor, a gift of the ancient Magi. A tree made to feed upon the ley line. It can bring life or desolation. To care for the Arkandor is a great burden, one which we now share.
Yeah, that right there.
We are masters of the arcane, Night Elf. I think we can handle a tree.
Arrogant. In time you will see. Beneath the Arkandor, you will be renewed. There is no other path now.
Yeah, our hand was forced by us, actually. Whoops. So yeah, as the listener so arrogantly said, that's not a tree. That is a perfect, and I stress that word for a second, combination of nature and arcane. It is 1-to-1. It is exactly as unstable as that sounds. Remember, we were talking about that earlier. Arcane and nature can work together, but they require maintenance, and they are very prone to... That's why the other room was completely overwhelmed with arcane devastation. So we actually need druidic talents and arcane talents equally. And yeah, Takoid is correct. I say 1-to-1. I shouldn't say it like that. What it actually is like 38.276 to 855.3387, or whatever it actually is, right? Whatever the actual perfect mix is. Tips on writing original characters. So the first tip I'm going to give you is to not worry about borrowing from other works for your characters. One of the worst things, I've said this so many times, one of the worst things you can ever fall into, and I do it myself, is, let's say I describe a character, and then someone says, "Oh, so it's just like such and such," and then you feel down, like it sounds like they're insulting you when they say that, right? It's like, oh, okay, well, I need to make them different. Don't let yourself fall into that trap. Just write your character. All characters are similar to other characters. That's life. There's only so many combinations and mixtures, right? Just focus on making the best character you can. That is the biggest piece of advice I could give you.
Greetings.
The Lystra was wise to send you in search of the Arkandor, though she underestimates its power. She will learn, as will others, but it'll take time. And the hunger gnawing at their very souls, the Nightfallen will need your help to survive. Reach honored.
Seek harmony.
Reach honored. I am halfway through friendly. Oh, that's not a good sign.
Greetings.
Let's see how far we can get.
Suramar must be free.
That being said, there are a couple of archetypes I would generally advise avoiding. Mostly not just because they've been done to death, but because, you know, there's not much you can do with them. Okay, the good news is there's some quest out there. Bad news is we're screwed. Let's do this. Suramar continues to suck. So, I've been hoping that that rep grind wouldn't be a huge issue. But here we are. You know what? Let me check something just really quick. Didn't even see the question, J. Palmer. Let's see, you said, how recent is it? Which we'll talk about later. And then I don't actually see another question.
Light be with you.
That's interesting. Oh, well, I'm not going to answer yet because the quest will answer.
Ah, good to see you.
Always
happy to help. You are always appreciated.
Now?
Hello.
King's honor, friend.
Oh, God, is it in the wrong spot? I swore it was here. Oh, no. That's right. Okay. Yep. I know where it is. I am found. Oh, I'm going to regret this. I can already feel it. There it is. I'm going to physically hurt dumping all of my I'm warped badges into a rep grind. Wait, are these BOA? BOA. They're BOA! Okay. So I told you I did some prep work for this. And it's even better than I thought, because it turns out, and I didn't plan for this, those rep items are BOA. Hey, look! I happen to have quite a few of them, banked, ready to go. I just answered you, Zara. People even in chat even commented on my answer to you. Still have the slap rock. hope they get rid of the 2-hour cooldown on this stupid Warbank thing at some point, by the way. I'm actually not even sure what purpose it serves. Like, it's not that hard to go back to my bank. It's just very convenient for doing, for example, what I'm doing right now. Wait, Little Knife wasn't taken? Wow. Yeah, go rewind a few minutes. Sorry, I really did answer you, like, immediately. I'm not going to burn the item here. Let's go straight to the bank. Fair enough, Magister. Oh god, what if that's the actual reason? Is they wanted us to pay, you know, $90 for that privilege of that. Is it? Because it's still a 2-hour cooldown, and I have 3 80s, I think? Here, can someone check that? Because I'm curious how that works out specifically.
Lucky doos. You like?
Like how much it's reduced to, or by, or whatever. Like specifics, right?
Good fortune to our friends.
What can I do for you? Safe travels.
Okay. We're good. Thank you, past me. Oh god. Get 11 80s and the cooldown goes down to 1 hour and 59 minutes. Wouldn't that be funny? Hey, Uthor. Notice anything different about my inventory? The advantage of prep work. Hello, Lilith.
Yes?
Glory to the shadow.
Behold, Suramar, our haven, our sanctuary. Our
Best looking city in the game. Well, second best.
Elisan and the Legion seek to bring us to heel. Through fear, through hunger. The flame of the Shal'Dorei flickers. We must reignite it. We must stir the noble hearts of my people. You must show them that Azeroth has not forsaken them.
Yeah, it's I believe the largest, or at least tied for the largest city in terms of actual real estate in the game. Probably because it's not a city, it's a zone. It's actually several zones and a dungeon. And a raid.
Greetings.
Oh, really, Esmerister? Wow.
The people will rise.
It is time for you to enter the city proper. I'm sending you to my loyal friend, Vanthyr. Hope you remember him. I can guarantee he remembers you. I must not be able to accompany. I will not be able to accompany you, but I must stress that the disguise I have granted you is not impervious.
Farewell.
Oh. I apparently already have that. So what is it before it's 2 hours? Yeah, Dazar'alor is a hub city, and also the actual playable area of Dazar'alor is pretty small. Like, you think about the giant-ass ziggurat, but the overwhelming majority of that ziggurat isn't something you interact with. It's decoration. Don't mistake me, Desire Lore is great, but it's no Suramar.
Our citizens are desperate to break free of Elisand's tyranny. Do you think you will have enough?
Enough for those most in need. The rest... welcome, welcome!
Hello, Vanthyr.
My doors are always open.
As you can make it, your help is sorely needed here.
Is there something you need?
There's much you need to learn about our city. First and foremost, Arkwine. It is the vehicle by which we imbibe the Nightwell's energies. Without it, we wither and die. Palace, almost said player lackeys. Palace lackeys have sinned fit to ration it, thinking this will control us and keep us quiet and complacent. I would like you to look for those in need near the tavern. You will find many, but those most desperate are most obvious. Take this flask and revive them. Tend to their suffering.
The waning crescent never closes.
So, I have, but I didn't look into specifics with Thor. I just knew that there was a data mine. I'm sorry, I can't gush about this so much. It's so obvious. The demons want the people to rebel. They don't actually want to maintain a stranglehold on these people. So what's the first thing they do? Literally the first action they take is to restrict food. And if anybody who's known anything about anything in terms of human history knows, it's that the best way to stir up the populace is to limit their food. People who are hungry get dangerous fast. So, yeah, no, exactly. The demons are deliberately trying to screw over the deal from word go. They were never planning to actually live up to it. These people, these are fuel. That's not even being hyperbolic. How are they restricting food? Well, they are rationing out. So you see these kegs, these barrels here, those contain Arkwine. Actually, yeah, off the deeper end. And that Arkwine is literally their sustenance. They don't actually eat food for sustenance because their bodies require that direct pipeline of mana in order to exist. I believe they can actually eat food, like these things here. But you notice, even that jelly, like that giant pie gelatin thing, is just Arkwine that's been gelatinized and turned into a treat, right? There's a couple of fruits. Those are Arkwine fruits. And you're getting the idea, right? So they do have food, but by every account, food is pure recreational. They need Arkwine. If they do not have Arkwine, they cannot survive. So they ration the Arkwine. Okay, this district gets 3 barrels, and they know that 3 barrels isn't enough. Father, I'm thirsty. Can I have some mana juice? Soon, little one, I promise. Notice the father is already shaking. So, God, I don't even know where to start with this. There's so much detail and so much good storytelling going on. It's in such a short period of time. I'm struggling to wrap my head around reviewing it. That's the headache speaking. 1 second. Oh, absolutely, Kraken-san. Appropriate name, given the immediacy of what we're talking about. Sorry. No, Suramar is crazy in depth. I've said for years this might be our single largest density of positives until we get to the modern stuff. This is what I expect the 4th zone of War Within to look like in terms of how much we are just going to absolutely dogpile positives onto it. Let me gather my thoughts for a second. Okay. Okay. Let's do this first. Let's get organized. Yeah, there's a reason I keep calling it the fourth zone, Pillars of Snow. I'm trying very hard not to spoil it for people who haven't seen it, or for people who haven't played it. That's what I thought. Okay. If there is one thing I think WoW needs to steal from FF14, it's the roulette system. But if there's a second thing that I think that WoW needs to steal from the FF14, it's the fact that in FF14 you literally cannot see the map of an area that's spoilery until you've already been there. To explain that a little bit, I actually use this screen right here. So what I would like is for this thing in the upper right to not even be there. So just, and there's our map, right? So you can see all these zones, sure, whatever. But the other thing isn't even there. Like I don't mean like it's invisible. I mean, it's not on the map. You can't see the name of it and you can't interact with it until, well, you actually get there. Because even seeing it on the map at all is a spoiler, as Pillars of Snow just mentioned and as I just showcased. Oh yeah, erase it all with question marks, right? If you have to go that route. So, let's talk about this area right here. Obviously, in pretty much every game, town areas tend to have the highest density and best quality of doodads. The reasons why is obvious. Like a cave, it's hard to flesh out a cave, right? There's not as much you can do that's obvious with a cave. But with a town area, you've got tables, you've got people, you've got food, you've got equipment, right? There's all kinds of stuff you can put here. You know, there's a woman who's literally reading something. There's a guy who's scrolling something down. She's just chilling out. They've got a freaking bong there. There's a lantern, which is actually hovering up above the table, just kind of reflecting its glow. You've got the stalls, which are selling the arc wine. You've got the color tracing. You've got the literal bricks that we're standing around walking on. There's so much more you can do with a town area, and that's why most games, hookah, thank you, tend to have really good doodads in towns and not everywhere else. I don't know, lead a fairy. I'm not a drug person. I don't know what you want from me. You'll also notice, if you pay attention, none of the people who will discover you are here. Did you catch that? We're actually safe here. If we roam out a little bit more, like say to the next area over, we immediately and instantly encounter a mob right there. It's that one. Who has a detection ability. So this area, from a gameplay perspective, is safe. You have no real threat of losing your disguise here. And it also helps sell the narrative idea that this is the central point of the resistance. You also can do stuff like this with town areas. Like just this garden with the nice arcane pillars. You've got the petals in the water. You've got the boat. You've got the actual statue right there. The tree coming up above. It's brilliant stuff, right? Yeah, there's gondolas, which they actually use to navigate through the whole city. Normally, when it comes to these kind of things, I like to sit and do like a fly-through overview of the zone in order to just kind of showcase the visuals and the presentation, all that. We're not doing that with Suramar because it's too in-depth. There is too much detail in Suramar to do a flyby. So what we're going to be doing instead is, as we go through each section of Suramar, as the quests guide us through this, we're going to be discussing this on a per-section basis. So we're starting out right here in the Waning Crescent, because the amount of detail here is bonkers. So we've already got amazing detail. We've got people huddled in fear. We've got a random demon just kind of walking through here. He's not actually doing anything. He's just walking through like he belongs here. Over here we have this guy who's brandishing a weapon at his own people. And they're not doing so hot. The city under siege vibes are very real here. I am so sorry for those of you who want the story score to go down, but we're in Suramar. We're not going to have the story score go down until we get to, like, the patch content, okay? Now, before I move any further, thank you, Nirazaz, for 2 full years of support. You are awesome. Thank you. If you know what you want to put that anniversary sub towards, please let me know. So our first quest is to literally just feed food to starving people. I know some people who don't like this, and that's fine. You know, not everything's for everyone. Because what this really is this is trying to drag the player's perspective all the way down to the most personal level it gets to. Hunger. It is hard to get to a more fundamentally human concept than hunger. And maybe human is the wrong word. Maybe fundamentally relatable concept. We've all had hunger to some extent or another in our lives. And these people are starving.
We see the stars once more.
By the way, I'm sorry, I should have read that out loud. What she actually said is, they need it more than me. Go ahead, I'll be fine. She actually wanted us to feed the food to her children and husband. And when she refuses to, his response is, no, you need to take this. And she's like, you'll need it. He's like, we'll survive until tomorrow. Vanther always takes care of us. You know that. So she takes the drink, immediately gets up, stops shaking, and the kids are happy to see her mother actually standing there. God, Jesus Christ, are you seeing this? Are you seeing this right here on display? This is incredibly messed up. And we're not done with being messed up, by the way. Suramar has some stuff going on. So here's Ambrina and Chloe.
Night well nourish us.
Here you go. Here you go. By the way, yeah, we just entered Suramar for all intents and purposes. This is our first real insight into the city, right here. Actually, you can, Takoana. I will get her home. It's nice to know that Vanther still thinks of us. Yeah, some people... This is why I say Suramar is so strange. Yeah, the writer factor is no longer an issue, because there's just a lot of thought and depth and care put into this part of the game. By the way, Huthor? Huthor? Oh, shoot, we lost Huthor. Is the next shipment in? Please tell me there's more. Please? This is why I like Legion. And I know that's not actually a valid answer. But you asked me that a few days ago, and if you remember, I said, give me a bit and I'll try to explain. Legion's been good, but Suramar is why I like Legion. For all the other bullcrap we've been putting up with for days. For days we've been dealing with garbage, and then we get to Suramar, and it's just, Jesus. And even Suramar is not immune to negatives, because they fumbled it so hard. Thank you, Zen, very, very much for the sub, as always. And if you want to put that towards up to 3 games for future streams, please let me know.
Asturas Denir.
There's never enough for both of us, so I choose to suffer instead of her.
Walk in the moon.
But we offer him the wine. He found more? Vanther came through again. How can he keep this up? By the way, as we talked about earlier, Pillager Snow and I mentioned this yesterday, it can't have been a month since the shield came down. Like, a month is on the outside, right? So this city has descended to this state in weeks. Absolutely not, Jay Palmer. I think Elisande thinks she's doing the right thing for her own reasons, and is doing everything in her power to keep the blinders on so she doesn't see the consequences of her action. I don't think she doesn't care. Quite the contrary. I actually think she does care. I just think she has decided she can't deal, so she doesn't.
Tenubala.
He stares at us blankly. You're not my brother.
Galthros Maldi.
Interestingly enough, Dakota is correct. Elisand capitulating bought time for us to show up. I know that sounds strange, because with the advantage of hindsight, it's like if she had just been with us the whole time, we would have made this. But if she hadn't capitulated, Suramar would have been run over. It would have been bulldozed. These people, these random civilians that we feel bad for starving here, are alive because she capitulated to the demons. Think about that for a second. Now, the demons were never going to keep that bargain. We know this. We also know the demons had a backup plan for running over Suramar just in case they did decide to resist. And we know that we were able to help eventually push the demons out of Suramar. But they didn't know that a month ago. Nobody knew that. Nobody knew anything a month ago. So this... Elisand's decision, it's so obvious and easy to look back with the advantage of hindsight and say, oh, she was completely wrong.
Be nice or be strong.
But at the moment, she probably made the most correct call she could have.
Oh, where could she have gone?
Try to relax, friend. We will find her.
Because if there's one thing that the Legion does consistently, it is infiltrate and subvert Trihexia. It takes less resources and time to slowly twist people down than it does to bulldoze them. I'm not giving her jack for credit, Uthor. I'm just saying, I think the word I want to use here is coincidentally she made the correct choice. What else was she going to do? As weird as that sounds. Now, the thing we can blame Elisand for is not what happened 3 weeks ago, but what's happening now. By the time Elisand becomes aware of us and the Dusk Lily, she probably should have been backing us. Instead, she will then spend all her time and attention fighting against us. That is her mistake, 100%. The moment the other... Think about it this way. She's looking at the chessboard and she's in a losing position. So she capitulates. Then a completely new piece, we'll call ourselves a queen, because this is chess, a whole new piece suddenly enters the board, and it's possible to fight her opponent, the Legion. The moment that new piece entered the board, she should have changed her perspective and reanalyzed the situation. She didn't. That's on her.
You need only ask.
Have you served those who suffer?
Greetings.
Your eyes are open to our reality. I can see it in your expression. Good. Now, Takota is correct. There is absolutely some fell intervention here. To my knowledge, we don't actually know all of the specifics, but there's a lot of hints that there was some meddling going on, and we'll leave it at that. That could be Huthor. Elisand is not a great person. He's not as bad as some other people. It's a gradient. It's almost like having one dictator in charge isn't a great idea sometimes. Yeah, no, Elisand's a bad person, but gradient. Sorry, I was writing down some thoughts here. You know, that's an interesting point, Huthor. That could be why, when we enter the board, she doesn't adjust. We could have been a good ally for her if she decided to swing our way. But you're right. There was no way she was going to remain on top with us involved. Your eyes are opening to our reality. I can see it in your expression. Good.
Is there something you need?
I need your help. The wine you so graciously distributed was the last of my reserves. Without more, these people will risk succumbing to their thirst and eventually become withered. I am dedicated to preventing this for as long as possible. There's a woman by the name of Deline who owns and operates a small delivery service out of her gondola. Find her, identify yourself as my messenger, and offer your aid in acquiring the next shipment.
Greetings.
Yeah, this isn't quite at the level of FF14 where we go around knocking over dictatorships, but have you noticed how many polities we kind of knock over the course of WoW?
Well met.
Varine's child has gone missing. I can guess what happened, but I need to be sure. Most guardsmen use couriers to relay delicate information. In this, magic is strictly the province of high-ranking officials. Take this blade. Do not touch the cutting edge. Use it to waylay the couriers and collect any respondents they carry. With any luck, the missive will tell us exactly where to find the girl. We guards know everything, after all.
Step carefully.
So, Fel is virus? Fel is an energy source. It's one of the fundaments of the setting. We're not 100% sure where it came from, or even if it came from somewhere. It might have been here at the beginning. We don't really know. We don't know much about the beginnings of anything, really, as funny as that sounds. But it's not virusy. It is, however, very addictive. Like, very addictive. You know, considering how much they rejiggered the story, that wouldn't surprise me, Huthor. Oh god, I've got a world quest that I'm running into here. Can I, like, not do this? Volatile. Good word for it. This is a... wow. Yeah, I think that speaks for itself.
Greetings.
Excuse me, sir. Thank you. It was a guy being carried on a pole, on a pole by several slaves or servants or whatever.
Right.
I shall dispose of you,
God
Airborne.
damn it. You have no idea who you're messing with, so just back off, okay, guys? Is any of this quest here? God, I wish I could just opt out of world quests periodically. Oh, Ilisan does everything she can to capitulate to the nobility. It's one of the biggest reasons, ironically, that Lilith has so much influence throughout the course of this story arc. Lilith is nobility. Yeah, Arcane is physicsy. Very, math. For lack of a better way to put that.
People armed, Ilisan's thugs will face stiff resistance.
Huthor. Dr. Breen. Oh my god.
Ring around the city. Hearts are full of pity. Crashing, clashing. Outside lies doom.
I think that last kid needs a couple of singing lessons. But yeah, I actually agree with Huthor's earlier comment.
Who goes there?
Whoop, 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 whoop. Damn it. Well, whatever. Sorry about this, buddy. Bye! You two are dead. What? Why? Because you were here. No witnesses.
Feel the might of the
said my magic was strongest.
I've always been amused by how flatly that last kid says it. Outside lies doom. So I suppose I suppose we'll talk about the bazaar now. So here we have arc-wine puddings. Here we have vases. Here we have various types of leaves and herbs, of course. More confectioners.
What is your pleasure?
Never melt ice cream? Always cold and refreshing, no expense spared. They have Shalder ice. Oh my god.
You will not find
No, this bazaar is amazing. Here's more sweets. And here's a bunch of wine and fruit. He's noticing a trend. Check this out. Here's the libation vendor. This is all arc wine of various types. There's a jewel crafter over here. Gems. More gem. Lots of... Just lots. Oh my god, there's so many gems. Bookseller over here. Nice little tidbit. Love the petals. I've noticed that, Ismaristar. Cloth, gotta have your tailor. Yeah, this whole area actually feels like the player hub. Spoilers, it is not. But did you notice how most of the major professions are represented by at least one of these stalls?
Who goes there?
Yeah, no, this again, we're going to be covering Suramar on like a block-by-block basis. And this is our second block, the Bazaar. If you look up, they've got banners hanging here and there. They've got lanterns.
Who goes
Some of these are actually swaying in the breeze even, if you watch, see? And, of course, we also have people who are starving, which you can feed Ancient Mana to help out. I don't think there's any benefit for doing so.
An illusion?
Ugh.
What are you hiding?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Oh, there is a buff. Empathy. Maximum health increased by 10%. Stacks up to 5 times? Ah! That's only outdoors. Wow! I don't think I've ever noticed that before. Anyway, sorry. Actually, I have seen a few other players. There's this druid who's been going around doing some of these quests with me. Notice we're time walking too, so there's several Legion time walking people here. You know, I just realized we finally did it. We finally reached the point I've been talking about since BC. The point at which we'll start giving multiple visual positives per region rather than per zone. So I was just thinking to myself, this is a double doodad positive bazaar, right? And I think that is officially the first time a sub-area has gotten multiple visual storytelling positives. Okay, where is she? Where is she? There she is.
Astoros Danil.
Ah, you're the one I was waiting for. All I need is a full boat, and I'll be on my way.
May I help you? Norbethos Suramar.
I've noticed some wandering eyes lately. I'm more than happy to continue delivering the goods to Vanthyr, but it's getting increasingly dangerous to do so. The Dusk Watch that block the bazaar are by far the most observant. Find and slay the Orbitists so I can deliver goods safely. I'll follow behind.
Our era has come.
Actually, I do. It's called Gameplay and Story Integration, Spartan. 1 second. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, no, most industry people will call it. Oh, what's that term? Is it no? It's not diegetic. I can't remember it. So let me level up my snobby points for a second. It's emergent gameplay. No, that's different. There's one of those terms they like to buzzword around, and I tend to not use it because I think gameplay story integration is a lot more clear cut. It also neatly ties into gameplay and story segregation. Ludonarrative, that's it. The ludonarrative. I'm mostly joking. You can use that term as much as you want. All right, hang on, Yura. Hang on, Yura. I just need you to come here, Yura, just for 5 seconds, okay? Now, this is gonna hurt a lot, okay? So just, I've actually thought about that several times, but here's the problem. Even if we did that, it wouldn't really change anything. You know what I mean? Visual story positives and story positives both add to the story axis, which would then be calculated exactly the same in the golden number. If I were to split it into 3 categories, the golden number wouldn't change, in other words. I would have imagined you thought I would have to whine to deliver. If that was that easy, people would not be starving. Her expression becomes serious. These loyalists, shall we say, enjoy abundance. They dance to the Magistrix's whims, and so they have all their need. There is no arc wine shortage. The Magistrix created one. They will not miss a few bottles. They have plenty. Search the square. Bring back as many as you can.
Stars guide you.
The only reason I debated separating it into a third category was so that people who are interested in seeing how a story is compared to how a story is presented could then do so easily.
Who goes there?
But if I might be so bold, you can do that already. I label all the positives. Again, I don't disagree, Yura, really. There is another asterisk to that, though, because something I debated several times, in fact, we actually had a lengthy discussion about it some months ago, was dividing into 4 categories. And it basically just keeps splitting it up and splitting up and splitting up more and more in order to make it more clear which category was which. I decided against it. One of the biggest problems we had was people kept disagreeing on what kind of things would be what kind of categories. Yeah, that's the other problem, Uthor. Story and gameplay is a pretty understandable thing that most people, even people new to the show, look at and they say, got it, instantly. Even though most people think of plot when they say story, they still get the overall idea, right? God damn it, kid. Outside lies doom. It's just the way he says it. Take this stupid cask off of my back, would you please?
Wisdom to Elisand.
There we go. Outside lies doom. But yeah, that's true. Music and audio in general could be considered another thing.
Around the city.
Plenty of games go out of their way to try and have really, really good sound design on a gameplay axis. Most Nintendo games, for example. But then also some of those really sell the scene via the audio, in a story axis to help, add atmosphere, for example. Yeah, considering that they do that a lot and there are several quests that go through here, I actually agree with you. You'll notice I literally just muted the sound.
Walk in starlight.
So, I actually agree. Audio spam. No, Bregwin hates orphans. Oh my god!
Hearts are full of pity.
Who goes there?
Nothing. Nothing and no one. I do get your overall point here. It's not like I'm dismissing you. But, yeah. Look, I already do enough paperwork as is. In fact, I'm going to spend this entire lunch break getting caught up on paperwork, because I didn't have time to last night, and I woke up very late and then had hardware issues this morning.
My doors are always open.
Darlene was able to deliver the goods safely. Thanks to you.
How can I help?
Were you successful?
Be kind.
Fine work.
Or be strong.
I'll read these over.
Let me see. They've been rounding up a lot of people lately. Children, too.
Do you think Kareem could be with the other children?
Very possible. I'll have our friend here follow a guard in and find out.
See you around off the deep road.
Order must be restored.
There's a good chance we're going to get to rescue Varine's daughter. Here's how this is going to work. You are going to wait here for the guard to pass by on their way to the guard shift. You will know the guard by their bright red armor. Follow closely, but not so closely. It may be necessary to kill the guard. The child's name is Kareem. Good luck. Yeah, don't you remember Pandaren children? I'm growing a beard. Oh my god. Okay, so that was
This should ease the pain for a little while.
That was a rough transition. But notice he just got a shipment because we just did the quest to get him a new shipment. And now there's this line of civilians needing food. I'm sorry. I just... grab some of this bottom while I'm up here. Hey, where are we at? Okay, I think we can afford it. Yep. Metal Gear WoW? So I've actually failed this quest before. I think I've failed this quest on camera. So we'll see how we do. I mean, that would be funny, J. Palmer. Demons impersonating children would not exactly be unheard of. Colonel, what are you doing? Why are you trying to talk to me right now? Listen, I need your advice on this new, wallpaper I just got. Oh, it would fully fit the Legion's modus operandi. A demon impersonating a dog? Don't be ridiculous. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh my god, that's true, Esmir Star. So here's where the Loyalists hang out. They've actually got demons putting on a show. They literally have demons putting on a show up there. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God, that would be funny, Uthor. Alright, who has to be the dog today? Ugh. Hang on. This is Thancred.
Keep it down, brats. You will join the others soon.
Are you seriously
Where
that?
did you come from?
Ah!
Intruder!
Hi. And goodbye. Hey kids, let's get you out of there.
Hello?
I thought they were gonna... Oh, they were.
Bye-bye.
They put my friends in cages. They make the bad men stop hurting them. They take them out to the garden and they never come back. I am not going home until they do.
Bye.
Okay, hang on. Let me become a Nightborn real quick. So, something I've been holding on to is this area up here. This is called the Terrace of Order, by the way. That's actually its freaking name. This is where they put the prisoners on display so that everyone can watch them. These people, I want to stress this, these people are literally just starved to death in a visible cage out in the open for all to see. It shows their crimes here too. Sentenced for conspiracy to committing treason. Over here we have sentenced to theft for theft by deception. Over here we have sentenced for aiding and abetting a fugitive. Now, all of these are really horrifying. That's a kid. Right there. The crime? Sentenced for acts of vandalism. Sentenced for bribing an official. Here's a better question. How many players do you think never even noticed that their crimes are actually visible on the cages? Here's one of my favorite ones. A child crying as she stares at what is probably one of her parents. Sentenced for acts of vandalism. There's another one. Yeah, I like to think it was something as the equivalent of egging. That's all of them? I think that's all of them. So, well, now they're a little less alive, if that makes you feel any better. Damn it. They're spawning so fast, they're keeping me in combat. If you remember where she farmed these guys, you remember that? The Ordinals. So, yeah, let's get the kid out. Duh. Just turbo duh there. In lore, obviously we free all of these people, but I always like to be a little site-specific with the first few. Like this woman, who is literally already at the point of withering. Like she's already a Nightfallen. There's another one over here. Oh, there he is. Oh, so you mean like, what I usually refer to as fidelity, Yura? Let me think about that for a bit. Yeah, remember, this is all still kind of tying into Runus' thing. let them go? I'm glad. I didn't like being in a cage either.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm ready to go home, but there's still scary men outside. Will you stay with me? Kid, I will kill this entire city for you.
Bye. I want my mommy.
Seize the child!
Ah! No! No!
Don't worry, kid. I got you. I was gonna say, I actually think you're right, Pills, just now. She sounds very familiar. Agreed, actually, Huthor. I don't necessarily want Elisande to be a good guy. I like your impression of her being Ashara, but slightly less horrible. But I do actually agree that it would be more interesting if Elisande was less behind a lot of this crap. Because again, it frankly makes more sense if the Legion is.
The child!
Like, as I've mentioned several times, this is literally the Legion's MO.
I know this street, maybe. Yeah. Yeah! And that's Vanthar's house. Bye.
See you around, kid. Sorry, I'm still gathering mana wherever I can to try and reduce future mana grinds. Yeah, no, exactly, Huthor. Instead of her being like, wahaha.
Oh, my sweet little girl. Are you hurt? Were they mean to you?
They yelled and put me in a cage. I missed you.
You're home now. Thank goodness. Oh, thank you. I cannot begin to express my gratitude.
Welcome. Let's get the hell out of here.
You need only ask.
You have done well for us here, but it's time for you to return to Thalisra. There's a teleporter pad nearby that's gone unused in recent years. So you reroute it and return to her that way. Oh, and before you go, he hands you a wrapped bottle of arc wine. Take this to her with my thanks for sending you. Let her know all your efforts helped replenish our supplies and reunited a mother and child. We are grateful beyond measure.
The Waning Crescent never closes.
Thank you, Ciela. Oh my god, you're right, Huthor. You're absolutely right. Oh, that would have been much better. Sorry, I know I'm gushing a lot about Suramar. It's not like I'm blind to its faults. Because, honestly... Dead Space, Alundra, and Thief Block. Thank you again, Ciela. Elisande is probably one of the weakest points of Suramar as a whole. Like, she's our central villain, and she's not a very particularly compelling character. Her characterization can be boiled down to... I'm exaggerating slightly. Well, no, it's important to keep everything in perspective. Lord knows it's easy to get into a gush wave in Suramar because there's just so much good going on. But you are right, they don't do anything with Elisande. She is a typical Warcraft villain. there's a reason why we tend to adhere to characters like Xalatath or Garrosh. It's because there's not that many good villains in Warcraft. I also like Gul'dan while we're on the subject. But, like, let's actually sit and process this. How many interesting villains do we have in Legion in specific? We have Odin. I probably shouldn't find that as funny as I do. But we have Odin. We have Illidan. I agree. Sargeras killed Jaden. Gul'dan. Yeah, I'm going to stop there. I think those are the good ones. Everyone else is a fairly typical Warcraft villain. Yeah, like Xavius is not very engaging. The most interesting thing about Xavius is how much Malfurion makes fun of him. As I mentioned during the Nightmare Raid, the most characterization we get for Xavius is the contrast between his two forms. They don't do anything with Ashara either. None of the Nothrazim do anything other than twirl their mustache. Even Balnazar, who is the most interesting of the Nothrazim, doesn't do much. Wait, Garrosh is in Legion, Magister? We have Chief What's-His-Face for the Blood Totem, or the Fel Totem, in High Mountain. We have Dargruul, whose most characterization is that he's an idiot, which is interesting, but they don't do anything with it. In Stormheim, we have Odin. I, too, am worthy Odin, who is legitimately more interesting for how much he is an insight into Odin himself than being an interesting character in his own right. The third Lich King, actually, that's fascinating. I completely disagree with that. There's also Cordona, but they don't do anything with her, and all the quests that fleshed her out are gone. You get my point, right? Like, Legion mostly has typical Warcraft villains, and Elisand is another one. This is a great time to flesh out. I mean, think about how interesting and cool and fascinating Valtois and Oculus and Thalyssra are. And they're going up against Elisand. Like, just think in terms of character quality, you know? Yeah, we literally kill paladins who are on our side in order to raise up one of their own into undeath. Although, in the interest of fairness, we didn't have a lot of choice in that matter, did we? Which is why the third Lich King does actually qualify. Anyway, sorry. I should probably cut this off. I haven't even ordered lunch. Here, I'll stick with you until lunch gets here. How's that sound? I need food. I have food here, but I need other food. So I'm going to... There's a local... salad making place. I don't know what else to put that. What do you call a salad restaurant? But they make extremely good salads, and I'm going to get one with rib meat on it because I feel terrible. I'm not doing well. Sorry, I don't mean to complain to be complaining. Salad bar. There we go. Thank you. I knew there was a term for that. So we'll grab this. I think I should get some kale. I actually kind of don't like the taste of kale, but it's got good crunch to it. It's probably the only green vegetable I'm not super fond of. Because I love greens. It's very thick. It's very thick, like almost cabbagey. Yeah, they could have done several things with Elisand. I like your first idea most, if I'm being honest. I love the idea of Elisand being another Ner'zhul. We don't get enough of those, honestly. In fact, frankly, Ner'zhul being a relatable villain isn't even in WoW. Like, Ner'zhul has no real presence in WoW. Until, honestly, I would say Shadowlands. Because all we have is totally not Ner'zhul. back in Warlords, and I gave him plenty of negatives, because, duh. Anyways, I heard rumors that you intend to leave the city. There's another place for the Nightborn where we're not beholden to Elisand's insanity. I wish to go with you. I can offer my harp and my hands, as they are not wanted here. Say the word. I will go with you through the teleporter and share my music with whoever waits me on the other side. Interestingly enough, Ner'zhul and Elisand both end up becoming victims of the same thing, the Legion.
The network is responding to a new beacon. Ah, hello again.
Probably,
Give me
J.
a
Palmer.
moment. I am locking in your location now.
Oculus, no, I'm not quite ready to. We good? Are we good? Ah, So notice it's a little bit lighter. They've got a couple more people here now. The Suikoden parallels continue. We've got refugees and orphans. In other words, what we have is more mouths to feed and no actual additional hands to help. I don't say that to be unkind, that is a statement of fact. We are not at the point of open rebellion yet, but we do not have the capacity. Right now, all we are is a hole where people can hide.
Our isolation has ended. A gift? For me?
I think you're right, J. Palmer.
I will see that it is not wasted. Well done, my friend. Aran Arcana. Be careful who you trust.
Hey, Walker.
Anratha Adore.
I'm gonna skip that
Suramar
quest.
must be free. Anratha Adore.
While you were busy in the city, I reached a roadblock in my withered research. I'm afraid I feel I'm close to overcoming this barrier, but I'm afraid I cannot do this without some more advanced tools. I hid amongst my possessions an item called an arcane amplifier, which does exactly what its name entails. It is more than likely the Magistrix ordered my estate dismantled. If the amplifier remains, it'll be in fragments. Recover the whole, if you can.
Be careful who you trust. The Shal'Darai will be redeemed.
Now, lol, Magister. Yeah, withered training is interesting, and I actually had fun with it for what it was worth. My biggest complaint about it is when you first start withered training, you don't get anywhere. And then you have to wait, what was it, 3 days for it to show up again? So it's a very slow roll, but once you finally start getting some of the upgrades and abilities, withered training was really cool. Was it weekly? God, that's even worse. I just remember that it took me so long to get rolling that I actually backed away from it for a while. I ended up doing it several times because I wanted the fist, which you saw on my monk, and I think I got the paladin one as well. Direct donations through PayPal, Little Billy, which take a pittance of percent, unless you're only donating like $1, in which case, don't. Just keep your money. I'm gonna kill a bunch of people really quick here. And that's true. Gul'dan getting a little bit more attention and characterization would be nice, too. I do like him quite a bit, but he just doesn't have the screen time he really should have had. Even here, where Gul'dan is actually operating, he's functionally the warlord of Suramar. The moth, if you will. Yeah, actually, Uthor. He's good when he's there, but he's not there much.
You've done it. Guard it well until you can return to me.
Excuse me. Why are you killing me? Because you're here. But why? Look. You should have paid the fine.
They are rifling through my drawers. Thieving rats! Please, recover my belongings.
Well, okay.
My robes. Ah, I missed these. I hope they still fit.
They do not. I don't know if you've looked at yourself in a mirror lately. You have lost entirely too much weight.
Just in case the library does not survive Elisand's insanity, I will keep an eye on these tomes.
So here's the question. We usually don't give negatives for typical Warcraft villains because they're neutrals, right? They're zeros. Do we think Elisand is sufficiently bad to qualify as a negative or no? Keep in mind, we haven't even seen her yet.
It would be best if they did not know who I was conversing with before.
So that's kind of the direction I was leaning, Uthor. I didn't want to make up my mind until we progressed the quests more, though. Like, we'll see her in that dungeon right over there, and we'll see her when we storm the gates, and then during the raid, and I think that's it. I might be missing a step there. Probably quite a few, honestly, J. Palmer. Yeah, Xavius... Oh. So here's our first formal update to the tree. Now, you may or may not have noticed me run over a pit there. Did you see that? So WoW does something interesting when it comes to putting you in a cutscene. It almost always actually doesn't put you in a cutscene. So what happened is I kept going. I even took damage from it and run off into a pit. What it does is it immediately creates a clone of whatever your current outfit is. So it looks like you because it grabs your current appearance. And then it manipulates the clone as a separate object, as an NPC, essentially, rather than actually having you there. I don't remember why. I remember reading that it's easier for them to do that than rather than try to make like the PC actually do stuff in said cutscenes.
One day at a time. We are only as strong as our will.
Another arcane amplification. Good.
The Shal'Dorei will be redeemed. We are only as strong as our will.
No doubt you've noticed our guests. I've watched them for a time and seen how they are attracted to the tree. I don't know if they're harmful to the sapling, but we cannot take the chance. Collect a handful of the insects and bring them to me. I will examine them and determine if they're to be left alone.
Ande Thoros, Athil.
Grab some of these. There is one step of the entire Nightborn chain I'm not a big fan of. We'll get there when we get there, but I'm not even sure how far off it is.
Ours is a heavy burden. Walk with purpose, as I feared. The Arkandor is in peril.
I remember seeing something like this before, but where? Ah, the vineyards.
Tell me you're not seriously considering sending our friend on such a mission. That is suicide.
Wait, you care about us now?
I have seen firsthand what the Arkandor's energies do for the Withered. I have faith that it is worth the risk.
We will have to see then.
I'm ready, Uthor. I'm ready.
The Nightwell calls to me.
I need you to infiltrate the Twilight Vineyards and bring something back to deal with these insects. To do that, you need a way to bypass the guards. Lilith will be able to help you. Go quickly.
Anratha Adore.
That
Suramar
is a very strange sentence, Uthor. And interesting to chew on. You know another thing that Legion Remix would improve? the rep grinds. Frankly, we should already be honored. Ahem. Hello, Lilith.
Good day.
Hang on. Where's my food? Is there nearby? Oh, it's like right there. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and chop here then before we start this particular quest chain, because this is a decent quest chain. And then I'm gonna eat my food. I'm gonna come back and not take a break at all. I'll see you guys.